Welcome back to another episode. So, today we will be using more online features. So, we're going to use both Google Earth, as you can see here in front of you, and then we also have the Appalachian Trail Conservatory website pulled up. Also, a great source to use throughout the hunt. So, just kind of a rundown. I'm not going to do a full tutorial on these things, but just a quick rundown on how I use them and how they differ from each other. So, this one is, of course, is Google Earth. You can see here I've transferred the trail into the Google Earth, so gives us a good idea of the layout of the trail. You see how just quite extensive this thing is when it stretches over 14 states. Um, Main difference between the two websites that I use here is the Google Earth is good and gives us a good idea of where the trail is. If you want a real or more accurate representation, I would probably use the conservatory if you're really going to more specific spots or locations. Um, the conservatory website is also really neat in the fact that you can pull up with the pancakes here in the top left hand side, you can pull up the actual mileage of the trail. It's super convenient. That's going to save you a ton of time and energy when you're trying to trace out distance or want a quick idea of how far something is in from each end of the trail. So, very useful there. Take that back off. Back over to Google Earth. Quick rundown on this. Of course, you have your search bar here in the top left-hand corner, so you can pretty much search whatever you'd like. So if you type in Springer Mountain, Georgia, to the right, it's going to give you kind of a summary of that location. It's also going to give you some great pictures here that you can flip through and get a good idea of what it looks like boots on the ground. Uh, to the right of that little U-turn arrow there is just simply to undo anything you did before. So if you mess something up, don't worry, you can get out of it pretty quickly by clicking the undo button there. To the right of that, you have the pin drop. So as you're going through here, if you have a touch screen, you can really just hold down your finger, touch anywhere on the map. It's going to drop a pin, or you can use your mouse. With this, you can see the to the right here, quick overview of elevation. You can save it to the project if you'd like, so you can type in exactly what you want the heading of the pin drop to say, and then you can even give it your own little size here if you want small, medium, large, if you want it to stand out more. So once you save that, it's going to be there. So anytime you come back in the map later on down the road, you can re-reference that. It'll all be saved in here in the map for you. So really useful feature there as we're going through. Then you have a couple measurement tools to the right of the pin drop there. So first squiggly measurement tool is more for adjusting to elevations and different changes there. The straight ruler one is more of as a crow flies type measurement, just kind of straight across. So won't really conjugate to, I don't think that's a word, to any mountains or different terrains there. So those are very useful. Bottom right hand corner, you have the red and white arrows there. That's basically your compass. This will allow you to spin in 360 degrees, or more importantly, you have the kind of elevation feature here. So you can drop down and see the different elevations, which is super cool. Very detailed. You can see these things are amazing with the technology here. So that'll come in handy. Your tilt, you can always, when you get confused or turned around on the trail, you can always hit reset to north. That'll put you back right and get your bearings again. Also, when you're in the compass there and you're looking at this kind of tilted view, you can also hit just the quick 2D and that'll jump you back over top with the down view. If you're in an area where there's more roads and highways and things like that, you can click the little man there on the right. Going to give you some different options as far as highways, roads, and different pictures that people have loaded up here. So if you click on that, it's going to take you down into the woods, and that's essentially a picture that somebody had posted there. Gives you kind of a 360-degree view of that, which is really cool. So you can do a lot as far as boots on the ground without even leaving your house. So very convenient there. Bottom left-hand side, you have the analog map that you can switch to. So you can do map view of this type here. Really convenient if you're looking for water. So if you look at this normal satellite view, hard to really see all the dark spots, all the lakes and ponds and rivers and things like that. So if you use this view here, switch it to the more of an analog view, it makes it a lot easier to find water. So I definitely use it for that. You also have the option here to have the map clean with not any destinations on there. And then you can switch that to everything. It's going to give you an idea of everything that's in that area as far as uh, names of mountains, roads, trailheads, buildings, businesses, you name it. If it's listed in there, it'll find it on there. And one thing to be careful of though, depending on your height here, you may be able to see things or not see them. So certain areas you may want to zoom in and out to kind of get a better idea. Okay, so that just gives you a good overview of Google Earth there and the Appalachian Trail Conservatory map. So, as promised, we'll keep these videos short and sweet. Let's head back to the beginning where we began on Springer Mountain. And last time we pretty much covered the whole starting point of the trail. This time we'll actually head out. Okay, back to Springer Mountain, Georgia. So let's go ahead and begin the hardest hike in the United States, the Appalachian Trail. So what I'm going to do here, of course, double check, make sure the bottom left-hand corner here, you have everything marked. You don't want to miss any icons or potential locations along the way. And then I'm going to also tilt back here a little bit as if we were really walking the trail here. All right, so as we head out on the trail, you'll notice the further you zoom in, the more information you get. The further you zoom out, you start to lose some things. So you want to stay a little tight here in the beginning. Make sure you're seeing all the different locations that they have marked here. So first things first, on the map, you'll see the tree is kind of your first hard left there. So what does that mean? Does that mean it's this kind of gradual left-hand turn here? Or are we looking for more of a hard 90-degree turn as you get over here to this junction area? So that's kind of where I began looking for the tree. Hopefully it would be more obvious, but what I realized is as I was going through, I was able to find this. Raise a hands here. Anybody see what I see? Yeah, no, there's nothing there. So the tree is nowhere near this location. It would take me many more miles and thousands of dollars to find that out, as you will see as we go along the trail here. But if only life were that easy, right? So we'll continue on for now, just looking for the obvious stuff. The Springer Mountain is pretty much the start of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and they kind of run all the way through multiple states. So this whole area is a Blue Ridge, kind of tying into the smoke there on the map potentially that we talked about. And then we'll get into the Smoky Mountains a little bit further on. It's going to be more in your North Carolina, Tennessee area. They kind of share a border there. So as I'm going through here, really just looking for the obvious. We got our reticular activators going, just kind of anything that would jump out to us from the text in the book or the icons, anything like that. So as I'm going through, I'm searching all these names, especially anything to do with Cherokee, Indian type names, looking for their meaning, trying to find out if I can tie it in any way. You'll notice here I marked about 17 miles in for y'all's benefit here, just to look around, not finding anything in this area. This is of course kind of tying into that 1727. You'll see much of northern Georgia here is pretty rural, which is good because that kind of allows us to easily eliminate, many things here. And sorry if, as I'm going through here, if the videos get a little slowed down or jumpy, or I have to clip this because apparently the stress of treasure hunting is a little more than my laptop can handle, so it does get overheated pretty quick here. So moving along, Blood Mountain Shelter, really cool name there. Definitely looked into all that. Anything with the word laurel in it, of course, tied to many trees and plants. definitely of interest there. Don't Not going to waste all your time though with all the different researches and things I did. I'm just going to hit on some of the bigger ones as we go through 'em. Got Blue Mountain Shelter. Definitely could tie into the blue smoke there. Nothing real concrete here. Coming up as you head into the closer to the border here, you do see this plum orchard shelter. Really like that one for the basket of fruit that we're looking at in the icons. So definitely could be a hitting point there. So I noted that one. And then that pretty much brings us here. You'll see I've kind of made it easy to see, but I noted out the border here. So this is the Georgia border. You have Tennessee to the left, North Carolina to the right. Fun fact here, you'll see that the Appalachian Trail, for a lot of the North Carolina Tennessee border, it really separates the two. Why is that important? So when you're searching different words and icons and things, you're really going to want to put in your notes here when you're doing a search. So let's say, for example, we were going to do bald. So like Bald Mountains, we're going to start heading into the Bald Mountains here. You'll see Bald Mountain or Big Bald, Tennessee pops up. But if you put in like Bald and then North Carolina, you're going to get North Carolina options as well. So when you do a search on this, I'm really doing a search here for Bald, Tennessee, Bald, North Carolina, and then I'll also flip over to the other uh, website here and do a search there as well, because it will bring back different things on this website that are more related to trails and shelters and things of that nature, which I like. So just some food for thought there as you're doing some searches. Now, some days I'm searching hard on the icons and just combing through the icons over and over again, kind of trying to come up with some creative solves on those. And then other days I'm searching hard on names of locations and digging deep into the backgrounds and the history of these areas. Couple level one solves here too. I found this fish trap branch. Really like that one for the smoke as well. As we noted in the beginning, there is a fish in there as well. It kind of looks like he might be trapped in. It's got maybe an entrance on either end, so it kind of reminds me of like a little Chinese fish trap there. So that potentially could be one solve as well to keep us moving here. Another one, which I really like and find fairly creative, was I found it when I was researching the feather. So let's go back to the large feather. Let me show you that here. So is there anything you see besides the feather? Here, let me zoom out. How about now? So yes, definitely, if you look just to the left of the feather, you can see kind of the silhouette of what appears to me to be a waterfall. So that really opened the doors on some different ideas for the feather. And essentially what I came down with or ended up with was Bird Falls. So if you type in Bird Falls here, the Bird Falls branch, there's an area here right off the trail. Really like that area as well. Let me clear those grid lines out here. Sorry about that. So Bird Falls branch, definitely let's save that one to the project. Uh, These are kind of my favorite solves when they're a little bit out of the box. Nothing too crazy, but something hidden that you see. And then there will be more of these as well as we go through. So super excited coming off of that solve. That would move us on up here past Fontana Lake. I did a full review of that lake and really didn't find much interesting there beyond that. But that is where, just beyond that lake, is where I found probably the most significant part of the hunt so far. And that's going to be right here, just past White Rock. You're going to see Cherokee National Forest. Just to the right of that, you'll notice these unique features here in the trail that remind me a whole lot of a boot heel. Let me go ahead and jump in here for the last clue of this episode. I think it's time to release the biggest solve so far in our journey here. I want to caution you, though, to show a little restraint, take a deep breath, As we get closer to the final destination of the tree, we are also closing in kind of on the final destination of the X on the map as well. I can assure you though, there's many layers to this map, so just stick with me here. Try not to make any crazy decisions on maybe a boots on the ground trip quite yet, and then we'll go through it together. Half of you maybe already know this solve, other half could be kind of mind-blowing. Either way, should be fun. So let's jump in. Hope y'all did your homework. So earlier episodes I mentioned you want to trace out the map here onto some cellophane paper. It's about to come in real handy here. So basically, once you have your map traced out, just trace out the trail. I hit on all the major icons here. What you want to do, step one, we're going to flip the map over 180 degrees. All right, so from there, now we're going to match this map trail up to the actual Appalachian Trail. What I did was cleared everything out of our way here, went kind of analog mode to make it easier to see. So starting in Springer Mountain, Georgia, of course, with our Springer Spaniel dog here, you're going to immediately notice kind of the stair-step effect, which matches up very nicely to the actual Appalachian Trail here in the background. So you have the heading north here with the stair steps. From there, you have kind of this first blemish, we'll call it a little kick out here. That's going to match very nicely to this odd part of the trail that swings out and around here. From there, we'll go up, make a left-hand turn. That'll drop us into kind of this elbow here, which matches very nicely on both the Appalachian Trail and the map in the book. From here, you'll see you have kind of a dip in the trail. Definitely going to line up there with that dip. I'm going to slide this down so we have a little more room here. So this finishes off, you have the dip here, it finishes off real nicely right into this kind of 90-degree corner here. From there, we'll want to pivot the map. So that's where you want to spin it, just keep that corner intact. And now you see the boot heel. So this boot heel was a big part of how I discovered that the map matches up. As soon as I saw those two, I knew they went together. Now, depending on how you scale this, it could be this heel, could be that heel. It's hard to say. So from here though, is where it kind of gets a little dicey. You have a lot of little, bumps on the road here along the trail. Could represent many things as you cut through here. You got this kind of little dip here, could match up to this nice little dip here. Continuing on from there, does it get over this big hump? Does it get over this elbow and drop somewhere in here, in Virginia maybe? It's hard to say. So in order to find out, you're gonna have to stick with me. Next week, we'll get into the exact final destination here, and I'll show you where this triangle ends up. Thanks for joining, guys.